Good morning. Good morning. Today we'll continue with antiretroviral drugs part 2. Last time we saw about the two groups of antiretroviral drugs, namely nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors and non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. That is zidovudine, stavudine, didanosine, lamivudine, and we looked into non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, namely nevirapine, delavirdine, efavirenz. Let's today look into protease inhibitors. What is the mechanism of action of protease inhibitors? They inhibit the enzyme protease. Protease is an enzyme produced by the HIV virus which helps in breaking down a polypeptide, which eventually is going to release several enzymes and other proteins needed for the virus. So let's look into the protease inhibitors. Saquinavir, entecavir, lopinavir, ritonavir, atazanavir are few to name protease inhibitors. What is the mechanism of action of protease inhibitors? Protease inhibitors inhibit the enzyme which cleaves large polyproteins synthesized in the infected cell. This prevents formation of several structural proteins and enzymes required for the virus. Hence, new viral particles are not formed. Even if they are formed, they are immature and they are non-infectious. In comparison to nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, that is zidovudine, this doesn't need any activation and it can't be also given as a monotherapy, that is single line of treatment. All these drugs have a variable bioavailability. What are the common adverse effects of these group? These group have largely GI intolerance and metabolic effects. So it has to be carefully given in patients who are who have metabolic diseases like diabetes, obesity, and it can also cause hepatitis QT prolongation. These are predominant cytochrome P450 inhibitors, especially cytochrome 3,4,A4 inhibitors. Coming to atazanavir, which is commonly used in the treatment of HIV, it is an azapeptide given once daily dose along with meals. It concentrates in CSF, spinal fluids and biliary fluids. It's also used in pregnancy. It has got severe GI adverse effects and it can also cause peripheral neuropathy. What are the relatively common adverse effects which decrease the use of protease inhibitors? Lipodystrophy, it can cause insulin resistance resulting in hyperglycemia, also resulting in hyperlipidemia or dyslipidemia. Due to this, it is avoided in patients with diabetes. It can cause diarrhea, anorexia, vomiting and bleeding tendencies. Coming to the next category, that is entry inhibitors. In this we have two drugs, that is CCR5 antagonist maraviroc and fusion entry inhibitors enfuritide. Let's go to the drug enfuritide. To understand this, let's try to understand how a HIV virus binds or enters into a host cell. For that, the HIV virus binds to CD4 on the human cell. It binds, and also it needs CCR5 on the host cell to bind. These two bind with GP41 and GP120 of the virus. So on the virus there is GP glycoprotein 41 and glycoprotein 120. These bind to the host. In the host there is CD4 and CCR5. So we have drugs which is going to inhibit this. Enfuritide is a drug which binds to GP41. GP41 subunit of the viral envelope. Hence, hence the virus can't bind to CD4 or CCR5. Because of this, entry of the virus into the host cell is inhibited. The disadvantage of enfuratide is it is an injectable, subcutaneous injectable drug. What are the adverse effects? It causes insomnia, headache, dizziness, nausea, hypersensitivity reactions. Coming to the next group, that is Maraviroc. Maraviroc binds to CCR5, the chemokine receptor on the host cell. This is on the host cell. It binds onto the host cell into the CCR5. After it binds, HIV virus won't be able to bind. Thus, it inhibits the entry of virus into the cells. What are the adverse effects? It can cause upper respiratory tract infections, joint pains, hepatotoxicity, insomnia, headache, dizziness, nausea, and hypersensitivity reactions. Coming to the last group of drugs, that is integrase inhibitors. What is integrase? For this, in the last class, we understood the difference between retroviral and non-retroviral drugs. Retroviral drugs produce DNA from RNA. This double-stranded DNA gets integrated into the host nucleus. For this, this is integration into the host nucleus. For this, you need an enzyme integrase produced by the virus. This happens because of the enzyme integrase produced by the virus. Here we have integrase inhibitors, those which inhibit the enzyme integrase. So, the pro-virus integration, that is DNA of the virus onto the host DNA is stopped, is inhibited, interferes with the integration of reverse transcribed HIV DNA onto the chromosome of the host DNA. It's well tolerated, adverse effects are less. This is always given in combination with other drugs. What are the adverse effects seen? Severe adverse effects which could be seen with integrase inhibitors is systemic hypersensitivity reactions and rhabdomyolysis, but these are rare. So, integrase inhibitors inhibits the integration of viral DNA into the host DNA. Protease inhibitors inhibit the breakdown of the polymer through which several structural proteins and virus enzymes are produced for the virus. What is the drugs used for entry inhibition? That will be GP41 blockers and CCR5 blockers, enfuratide and Maraviroc. These are few drugs which are integrase inhibitors. These are called gravers or dolutegravir, elvitegravir and raltegravir. Now that we have understood what are the drugs used in the treatment of HIV, those drugs which are used in the treatment of HIV include nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, protease inhibitors, entry inhibitors and integrase inhibitors. These are given in HIV patients through certain regimes. This is under heart therapy. This is given under heart therapy. What is heart therapy? Heart therapy is introduced by NACO. NACO is National AIDS Control Organization, where it tells in whom should we give anti-HIV therapy. Before 2016, all symptomatic patients, asymptomatic patients with CD4 count less than 350, Those HIV patients with hepatitis infection, pregnant women who are HIV positive, HIV with nephropathy, HIV in stage 3 and stage 4, patients who are tested positive 6 to 8 years back, patients with HIV patients with herpes zoster and TB, HIV patients who are developed AIDS, and all children who are positive above the age of 15 years. In them, HIV treatment heart therapy was being initiated. Now, the guidelines have changed. Now, since 2016, all patients, as early as possible, all patients who become positive are given anti-HIV therapy, and that too for lifelong. So, what happens once you start with anti-HIV therapy? What is that you are looking for? We are looking for HIV copies. The number of HIV copies in the blood should go undetectable within 6 months. This shows they are responding, and also the CD4 count should become normalized. If this doesn't work, you need to add more drugs, and more aggressive line of therapy is needed. What are the common regimes that we are going to be using? We'll use 2 NRTIs plus 1 NNRTI. That is the most common regime which is used. If the patient has severe adverse effects for NNRTIs, we can replace it with the protease inhibitors. Very rarely we can use 3 NRTIs, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. There are few guidelines which are there to follow in the regimes to be followed. All regimes should include lamivudine unless contraindicated, and you should have drugs from different classes. For example, the first line of antiretroviral drugs, the preferred regime, the first one is lamivudine plus zidovudine plus nevirapine. If patient has severe adverse effects for this, you can use alternate regimes like lamivudine with zidovudine and efavirenz. We have other alternate options also. So there are more than 7 regimes which can be used where 2 NRTIs along with 1 NNRTI is used. So there are few guidelines. Let's look into the guidelines. 3 drugs at least from 2 different classes. Protease inhibitors is used only in advanced cases. To boost activity of protease inhibitors, you can give it along with ritonavir. Drug toxicity is there. You should not reduce the dose. You should change the drug. No drug holidays, no stopping in between. It's a lifelong therapy. During the therapy, there can be immune reconstitution syndrome where the CD4 counts can go higher. And during pregnancy, also you have to use safe antiretroviral drugs which have least teratotoxicity effect. You have to wait for 4 to 6 months to see if the patient is responding. Means CD4 counts go above 350, HIV copies are reduced, and viral load is going to decrease tenfold. Along with that, there will be clinical correlation where the patient symptomatically feels better. Why do we use these? We use this so that to reduce opportunistic infections in this patient and also increase the longevity of this patient. Not only that, it also reduces the transmission, especially in the partners of HIV positive patients. There are second line of therapy where if the first line of therapy is not effective or the patient has become resistant to it, we can use the second line of therapy which has an NRTI component plus a protease inhibitors. So we can use these combinations. There are few antiretroviral combinations which have to be avoided, like zidovudine with stavudine. This is a pharmacodynamic antagonism is there. Stavudine plus didanosine, there is increased toxicity. Lamivudine with didanosine, it's not clinically addictive, so we are not going to be using them. This is the treatment of HIV if a patient is positive. If there is a healthy person who is exposed by accidental injuries or needle stick injuries or prevention of transmission from mother to the child, we are going to be using prophylaxis. Post-exposure prophylaxis. You should use for low-risk patients 2-drug regime, zidovudine plus lamivudine twice daily for 4 weeks. For high-risk patient, 3-drug regime it can be used. For pregnancy, during pregnancy, the patient can be given zidovudine plus lamivudine, and to the neonate we have to give zidovudine. For the neonate, zidovudine we have to give it for 6 months, and breastfeeding should be avoided. Direct breastfeeding should be avoided. In HIV positive patients, there could be opportunistic infections. So opportunistic infections also has to be treated. For example, then the last class we learned about Mycobacterium avium complex infection, where we are going to put the patient on clarithromycin along with rifabutin. Toxoplasmosis, pyrimethamine can be used. For Kaposi carcinoma, we can use intralesional vincristine. It's an anti-cancer drug. We'll learn about it during the anti-cancer treatment regimes. Cryptococcal meningitis, we can use ganicyclovir, fluconazoles. Candidiasis also can happen, systemic candidiasis. So for that we can use fluconazole. These are secondary opportunistic infections. These patients tend to develop anemia as a side effect, especially with zidovudine, which belongs to NRTI, nucleoside reverse transcriptase. Such patients are treated with erythropoietin or CSF, granulocyte CSF, and GM-CSF, Connolly stimulating factors. These are the portions for internal assessment. All portions completed during the lockdown are going to be there for internal assessment. With this, we finish antiretroviral drugs. Antiretroviral drugs are used in the treatment of HIV. So we learned about NRTIs, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, NNRTIs, protease inhibitors, integrase inhibitors, CCR5 antagonists, and we learned about GP glycoprotein inhibitors. Thank you.